Going from like okay to good is really easy. Going from good to great and then to great is all time. It's like this much of a difference, but it's a lifetime of work.
All right, guys, super excited for this episode today. In the land of LA, tons of content creators, photo and video. We're with a guy today that's works for himself now, but worked for one of the biggest companies in the space. So I'm really excited for aspiring content creators to listen to this episode. He's going to have tons of knowledge for us. Matt Komo, welcome to the Ikonick office.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks for having me, guys.
And Matt has broken the record. He's had 2 coffees today. Usually I get made fun of for having an insane amount of coffee. He went back to back, so feeling good about myself today.
Yeah,
cheers, baby. Cheers.
I'm gonna do water.
Yeah, starting strong.
High energy. So Matt, let's. What I'm really excited about this episode actually is the fact that I know little to nothing about you.
Okay, great.
We met for
Did your homework
for 2-3 minutes at a birthday party, but I've heard great things and I've seen your work. So to understand where you're at now, I want to go back to the beginning. So tell us a little bit about just where you were born and your upbringing.
Okay, sweet. I guess to make it kind of quick and concise, I'm from kind of around here, Orange County, California. So it's like an hour and a half south of LA. Have been into film for a long time.
Define long time.
I probably started when I was like 13. I'm 26 now, so it's like 13 years of working at it. And then leaving high school, I went to film school at Chapman University. Studied film production there with an emphasis in cinematography. Left Chapman, started to work for GoPro. Did that for nearly 3 years. And then left GoPro in January of 2018. And then now,
Was that your first film job, GoPro?
No, I worked almost full time in college too. I worked for a racing company.
That was the shortest intro we've ever had. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Usually we like to say short, but that was super short. So,
Yeah.
So let's go back.
We'll keep it quick.
What I think is interesting is nowadays, very few people in almost any space are formally trained.
Yeah.
You were actually formally trained. So looking back, is that how you would have done it? Or nowadays with like YouTube and stuff, do you think that's the better route?
It depends on what your end goal is. You definitely don't need to do it to get into the space. It's probably the same thing for designing. Like if you have the style and you have the talent, you don't need to go learn from a school by any means.
Yeah, I took 0 design classes.
Yeah,
I grew up in studio art, but no digital.
Got it. And you're super successful and extremely talented at it. It's the same thing with any creative discipline, in my opinion, where I feel like it does help me professionally, and it will within the next 5 to 10 years, is I do want to make the leap into feature films and longer form documentaries, and having like the schooling of proper story structure, story arcs, having the knowledge of how things work on set and how to lead a crew are incredibly valuable. And that's what film school taught me.
So for someone that didn't go to film school, what's the biggest piece of advice you would give them?
Just keep going.
There you go.
Pretty much. That's like that with anything. But to keep it film specific, story always comes first, and you're trying to articulate an emotion to somebody, and you can do that visually. You can do it through narration, voiceover, but be conscious of your storytelling abilities.
From a more macro level, would you think someone should work underneath someone like you?
Of course.
Is there online courses? Like what do you
Find who you admire and work for them for free for as long as you need to learn everything they know.
I love it.
And that's move on to the next thing.
That's the Jeremiah story with Rory Kramer. What about you? Did you work for somebody that you looked up to, or did you take more of the formal approach?
I took a formal approach, and I worked for companies. And I worked for like I mentioned, a racing company in college for like 3.5 years. And then at GoPro, just studying how the whole company worked and functioned, and that was my approach to it.
That's the quickest flex that you worked for GoPro, like straight out of college. Let's talk about that. How did you get that job?
I would say it's a lot of luck and a lot of talent, and kind of like coinciding at the same time. I applied my senior year, actually got denied twice from them. For an internship for the first time, and then I applied to be on like the ski and snowboard, like vertical, got denied from that, and then somehow my resume found its way through to the director of social at the time, and she took me under her wing and like off to the races from there.
Let's talk about the getting denied part. So when you got denied, did you now have to change your skill set, get better during that like time, or was it just
finding a different path to get in?
That's interesting. I didn't like really think about it too much at the time. I kind of just kept like applying, and I still had a year left until I graduated, so I had time if I needed to pivot and go find another company or go do something on my own, I guess.
Yeah, I guess like what did denial do for that to get, go forward and keep going?
I'm probably the wrong person to ask that because it just doesn't faze me at all, like 0%.
You said the answer without saying it. That's fucking epic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, there's so many other variables, and if someone denies you,
why?
Yeah, it might not be because you're not good enough. Like, that's always kind of the first response for a lot of people is, I'm not talented enough, or I don't deserve this. Could just be wrong timing. It could be something on the company's end. They don't have, the resources to hire somebody on, and maybe it's just not for you at that time. So you just go on to the next thing. And that's kind of how I look at like everything. And that's probably why not much bothers me.
So did you take business classes in film school? Because it seems like that you have a business mind. And for me, when I think of creative schools, I think of like Full Sail. So I'm not thinking about business.
Not really. My dad is, he's a businessman, and I learn a lot from him, and I talk to him a lot. So that's probably where I picked a lot of it up from. But I do try to take a very like business approach to everything. Because I'm sure like with Ikonick and everything, it's great being creative and creating this the amazing art pieces, but you have to deploy it properly, and put it into a business and put it into a structure. And now you guys have an incredible baby.
That's one of the biggest things for us is finding, we found so many, in the beginning it was just Jeff, but we found so many creatives that were so talented but just didn't have the business acumen or the structure, and we put them into our funnel and system, and hopefully obviously they're making money, but we're teaching them how to do it on their own, which is it's been so rewarding. But let's get some context with GoPro, because for now, GoPro is obviously a fucking monster. Give us some context. When you started, what year was it? How big were they?
So I came in June 2015, and that was probably like they were getting towards their peak. I would say like around Hero 4, 5, and 6 were kind of like the glory years of the company. When I started, I didn't do anything that cool. I was kind of like a glorified secretary, you could say, for like the social team. And just I was the youngest person on the team too. Me and this girl named Erin, we were both 21 when I started, and everyone on the team was, later 20s, early 30s. And as you guys kind of probably know in like the content space, and especially just LA and like pop culture in general, like things just move quickly. So I just understood what like a millennial would want. So sooner rather than later, they just listened to my opinion and kind of just went from there.
What was the biggest thing you learned when you were secretary? Because I like that you started way at the bottom.
You just do what you say you're going to do and work hard and just get stuff done. And I'm sure you guys probably know with hiring people, like it's hard to find a hardworking, talented person who's going to do what they say they're going to do. So if you just do that, then you're probably fine.
You got some gems. Super simple, but gems, very, very practical.
He's actually bringing up a bunch of really cool stuff. So like young people, when they come into companies and bring up their opinions, not a lot of bosses or people, their superiors actually implement them. They'll say it and like, that's great. Like you're coming with ideas, but not a lot of them get implemented. And that was a big thing for me when in my previous companies. I'm like, guys, you got to do it this way. Just because maybe it was experience or maybe just because I wasn't the decision maker, they just never got listened to. How did you get those things to happen and execute it? Because it seems like you were the young gun, but you made a huge change, and that's really hard.
One, in a big company.
Yeah, one for you to even speak up, for two for that leader to actually implement it.
Well, so from like a social like content side of things, there was no barrier for me. So if I had an idea, I could just go make it, where a lot of other people, like if they had a cool visual idea, they don't know how to edit it, they don't know how to shoot it. That wasn't a problem for me. So, what ended up happening was it became simple. From a company perspective, you either send a team of people to go out and shoot this production, and then the social team was trying to get all their assets, and like there was this weird like disconnect from the media department and social, and trying to get what both parties needed. Where we'll just go send Matt, and he can kind of just do it all, and that's ended up what happened.
Was a lot of your stuff taking third-party footage and actually mixing it and
Yeah,
doing
definitely.
posts, or is it more your raw stuff?
It was a little bit of both. I definitely did a lot of kind of like the curation of the pages, what everything looked like from the Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, when things are going out, kind of in charge like the whole.
Were you clicking the
content
post
schedule.
button? Is that you?
No, I wasn't, but I was in charge of all the content and when things were going out, how they looked, the colors, the aesthetic, banners, like things of that nature. Yeah. There's a lot to do at 21.
That's huge. So let's fast forward through to your, the end of your time there. Tell us anything big happened there. What was the reason why you ended up moving on?
I think with anything, like you go and you learn as much as you possibly can. And then, I just wanted to try different avenues. And at that time I was shooting a bunch of music videos. You guys are obviously familiar with Rory. Me and Rory became really close friends. So we started to do some Chainsmoker stuff together. We did his show together, and that was kind of all happening at the same time. So I would, work during the week, and then on the weekends, I was on a flight every single Friday, like going somewhere and doing something, working all the way to Sunday, coming back on Monday. And like, it just got to the point where it was too much to do both. So you just, you pick a lane. And GoPro at that time, I think we were past Hero 6, it was going on to Hero 7. And, I just felt, okay, it's time to just go take a risk on my own stuff and just see how it pans out.
What'd your family think about that?
I don't know. Like, they're obviously really excited, but, they come from such a different generational, like, gap that they don't even really know how to process it. Like, what do you mean you're going to be in, like, South Korea in 2 days and then you're going to Paris 3 days later? It just doesn't make sense to them. But they're proud, yeah.
So you went from basically working for a corporate company to you being completely your own boss.
Mm-hmm.
How do you motivate yourself?
Surrounding myself with people like you guys who are like super excited and passionate about doing what they're doing, hanging out with other creatives, and just making things that I enjoy. That's the other like hard part too. And, someone like myself, I'm in the business where I'm always like, servicing other people and always creating for companies and brands, and you really have to just tell yourself, every once in a while you have to take a step back and make something for yourself.
It's interesting you say that, because with our creative team, we actually had a conversation recently where a lot of it was getting, Jeff was obviously giving his input, and then on the last project we did actually with Rory, we just gave kind of full autonomy and say, hey, you do it your way. So that's definitely a balance that, quite frankly, we weren't doing, that we recently started doing.
And
so
how did that turn out in comparison?
Great. He did a great job. Shout out Jake, did a great job. So I definitely see that. That's kind of the world we're living in now, where there's just an abundance of, with social media, there's just so much stuff and so much opportunities where ultimately you have to just do something that you love. And
right.
I think that's kind of how we've had success is, I mean, you're serious. We're on our energy right now is through the fucking roof. Like, we fucking love what we do. So I completely agree with you there. So where do you think photo and video is going, period? Because especially in photo, it's crazy. Actually ironic, when we were in Hawaii, like every so once in a while we start seeing these apps that it's kind of really minimizing the post-production
right.
in photo and video. Like I remember that he edited a photo of mine in Hawaii with the background, and we found this app that the sky, like literally something that would take Jeff,
How long? Let's see if you can guess it.
I'm not gonna even say how long it would have fucking took you, Jeff. Relax over there. But it would have taken him a long time. I literally click a button and I have 10 different skies.
Right.
So where do you think the space is going?
Well, so if you think about it, I'm sure you guys are familiar with like the music industry and music production, and companies like Splice coming along that provide loops for producers. And to make a beat is, I don't want to make it simple by any means. It's a talent and it's an art, but to make a simple beat is easy. You find a loop, you find a drum loop, you find a hi-hat loop, you put it all together, you find a lead, and you have a song, right? But that only, I feel like, gets you a certain level. And it's the same thing for photo and video. Okay, great, you can shoot something in, slow-mo, someone walking, like yada, 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 put like an EDM track on. You'll have like something that looks kind of cool, but at its core, it's the story, and it's what someone's getting out of it, right? And it's the same thing with music. It's what is the artist trying to say? What emotion are they trying to convey? So I think photo and video, yes, it's becoming commoditized, or the quality of it's becoming commoditized in a sense. But I think the people that will excel through the next level is the stories that they're able to tell with that visual aesthetic still up to par.
I always say that
Very
it's
true.
really easy to be really good. I think it's commoditized to be really good, but I think that it's hard to be great. And I think once you
Right.
get to that level, that's where you really see the
Yeah, going from like okay to good is really easy. Going
Yeah.
from good to great and then to great is all time. It's like this much of a difference, but it's a lifetime of work.
Yeah.
everything. Like that crazy video you just showed me with fucking going through cars and shit. It was like the limitless intro. We're definitely gonna pop that up. I want to show that. I love that video.
It's that one Naval quote about authenticity. It's the
Escape
same
competition with authenticity.
thing. Yeah. So when everything becomes commoditized, it's the authenticity what stands out. It's
Story.
basically, which is story.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's talk more about story and brand. I think one of the other things that obviously separates yourself, from the pack is the brand. You have a huge following. People know you. I think the GoPro play was so big for you because I'm just gonna call a spade a spade. Like
Yeah.
I know you as the former guy at GoPro
Yeah.
turned into this space in LA where we're all friends. We know what
Yeah,
it is.
yeah.
So how big has brand been for you?
It's everything. And it's incredibly important because I mean, it's important for people to know who you are. And like, I just think it's a shame. There's so many talented artists, filmmakers, music producers out there that just nobody knows who they are because they've never taken the time to brand themselves properly. But I get it. Like, not everybody wants to be in front of the camera and talk and be a personality. Like, that's an art in and of itself. But I think for longevity, like, yeah, you got to have a personal brand, especially now in 2019 and 2020.
How has Instagram been for you?
It's been good. It's been good.
As a tool, how do you use it?
It's interesting because I still like sometimes struggle to find the balance. Like, is it a portfolio piece? Is it more so like my own life, and like, how do you straddle both? Like, what's the audience want? What do I want from it? That's more important. But it's definitely, I mean, even today, like the first thing you did to look up what I'm doing currently and what's relevant is you went to Instagram, right? So that kind of tells me everything I need to know.
You got to be like Jeff. Jeff's got a trap page, so he's got @Cole, and he's also got J. Cole Graphics.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Which is
There I do whatever I want.
It's basically like the ugly stepchild on the
Got it.
sides. And it is like secondary bullshit content, or if he's got to post somebody, it goes on the secondary bullshit page. J. Cole Graphics, you guys should check that
There you
out.
go.
Interesting.
No, don't go there.
Why not? Everybody go there. It's @JCOLEGRAPHIX, and it's going to be hyperlinked in the bottom of the episode.
It's just a lot of me, which is not Cole.
31-year-old single male for the ladies out there. There's a lot of
Hey.
Jeff Cole on there too.
Yeah,
So
there
we're
we
just
go.
gonna throw him out there as well.
Yeah.
There you go. He likes that. See that? So brand story. I always look at kind of hand in hand brand story, and a big way to drive brand and story is through collaboration, and that's another reason I knew you from the GoPro, and then I know you. It's kind of this world where it's like the Movement Watches, the Yes Theories, the Rory, the Jeremiah, that Blanket. It's all kind of all these people that I'm from New York. He's from Chicago. We came here, and I'm starting to see kind of this like this little mafia army, and quite frankly, it's hysterical because everybody's collaborating with each other.
Yeah.
It's like someone does something with Movement, then Jeff does something with Movement, and then you cut. It's just all over the place. So
Right.
How has collaboration helped amplify your brand and your story?
I mean, it's awareness. You collaborate with somebody, you tap into their audience, they tap into yours. And it's just good to like collaborate with other creatives and get other ideas, and it helps a ton. It's helped me a ton, at least. So,
You ever think about doing a masterclass? I feel like that you have a nice blend between creative and business, because I feel like you just are you're very pragmatic. Like it's a simple answer. You tap into their audience, and like when we do collaborations, it's one of the biggest things is you tap into the audience. You get the distribution. But have you ever thought about doing that?
Yeah, we're working on something.
You are? Are you serious?
Yeah. We got something coming up.
Did not even know that.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah. We were like probably like 75% of the way through. And it's kind of it's coinciding with my short film that comes out. So it's looking at how I'm like actually making something, if that makes sense, or making a film. So it's not so much me, it's like a hybrid of me retroactively talking about older things. And then it's also then me actively showing you me making the biggest.
It's like a tutorial memoir.
Film of my life. And it's
Tutorial memoir. I like that, Chef.
we're in post-production right now for the film. So like that's the editing portion of the class is that.
Give us some exclusives right now. So what exactly is it? What is the actual class? Is it explaining the business of creative?
It's explaining more so the process of the creative, from pre-production to production to post-production, how I organize my files, how I, plan everything out. And It's not so much on the business side. That would be interesting.
You should
though,
charge a lot for that shit. How much you charging for that?
We're still figuring it out. So
You should go big. He's giving all the cheat codes.
I know.
You're basically giving like a Chapman MBA blended with what you think.
That's
Yeah,
the reason
yeah.
I don't think I'll ever do that.
what?
I do it to a certain extent, like, because like that formula of like how you like pragmatically go through a creative is like,
Right.
to me, that's like the secret sauce. Because I mean,
Jeff, I don't even think that if they had the ingredients, they can make that sauce. But I'm not mad at you. Hide the sauce. That's
yeah,
fine.
I'm gonna hide it for now.
That's fine.
All right,
Yeah,
fair enough.
I gotta
Fair
hide
You
it.
can keep hiding the sauce. So content creators, I want to hear your Mount Rushmore of photo and or video. Do at least 2 or 3 a video.
Oh, geez.
And one of them needs to be LA based, and then the other 4. Let's hear it.
Oh God, wow.
I know I'm putting you on the spot.
This guy sounds so bad because I don't really look up to like any
that's an
content
answer.
creators. Yeah.
If you want to switch it to maybe directors,
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
gonna say next. My Mount Rushmore would definitely be Christopher Nolan is number 1 for sure. I think everything he does from a story perspective, he takes these very grandiose ideas and he doesn't even necessarily simplify them, but he packages them and cuts it in a way that it makes it easy to understand for the audience, but they're very complex storylines.
Yeah.
And I find him super fascinating. Obviously, Scorsese, he's the GOAT. Most of his pieces are very character-driven, character study pieces.
what do you
Irishman.
think about? But what do you think about the Marvel comments? I'm very curious.
I don't think he's wrong. I do think it is like an amusement park for... so for those of you guys that don't know, Martin Scorsese said Marvel movies are like an
Or not cinema. Basically.
Yeah, not cinema. It's like an amusement park for moviegoers to go see, where there's just a ton of flashing things for you to like go ride on.
But here's what I disagree. The one thing I disagree with him and Coppola was that you don't leave with any emotions. That I think was the most ignorant statement out of both of them. How you don't leave Marvel movies with any sort of emotion.
Right.
And that's where that got me ticked off.
Well, I do think he's wrong there. I think he probably meant the statement coming from the standpoint of that Marvel relies on spectacle to tell their story. Things blowing up, things that kind of just are eye candy, whereas a lot of Scorsese stuff, pretty much all his stuff, is very grounded in reality.
I think Marvel is just like a very simple setup and payoff, and I feel like Scorsese has like he intertwines the characters and it's more surprising.
Right.
Like Marvel is just like like that shit's definitely gonna happen.
But it works. That's the thing.
I'm not even to be frank with you. I mean, he could tell you I don't even like those movies, those Marvel movies.
Yeah.
I'm a huge. I mean, he could tell you like the Goodfellas, the Casino, like those are the movies that like I could watch those over and over and over again.
Great.
So Nolan, Scorsese. You see Irishman?
I did, yeah.
What'd you think about it?
I thought it was great. I thought it was really long, obviously.
I thought it was a little
I
slow.
fall
3.5
asleep.
hours.
I don't fall asleep in movies. I fall asleep.
It's long.
It's just really hard for me.
I kind of nerded out over the like anti-aging technology.
See, but here's the. I actually it was too distracting.
Really?
Where I wasn't now listening to the dialogue. I was just like watching their
Watching
lips. I'm
De
just like, I'm like, what the fuck is going on there? Like, so that was my one critique. Is like it was a little too distracting, where I wasn't really engulfing myself in like the storyline. I was just like,
Gotcha.
Because my brain works differently, so maybe that's why. But
Got it. You're probably looking at it from like a very aesthetic
yeah,
approach. Yeah.
I was completely.
I actually had no idea about any anti-aging.
Mark always thought that was just. Mark thought it was all makeup.
I just like the character development. That for me with him, it's just
great.
It's just the characters.
It's great.
All right, what else? So we got.
How many do I
Nolan,
gotta pick?
Scorsese.
How many do I gotta
3
pick?
more.
3.
You got to give us a content creator. There's got to be a content creator.
Content creator. I mean, Rory, like he's been one of my good friends for a really, really long time, and he was a guy that I looked up to for a long time before we became friends. And I think what's great about him is he is very good at capturing authentic moments. A lot of his stuff isn't the most produced, which is fine. That's his aesthetic, but I really like pretty much everything he does.
Have you seen that
Iconic
thing
times Rory Kramer out
Yeah.
now. Let's go.
Have you seen the thing he's been working on? That
I told him about that.
Oh, you told him about
Yeah.
That was really.
This shit's
insane
crazy. Have
to
you seen
watch.
it?
Yeah.
I like
He was
it.
editing it last week at my apartment. a
Yeah,
little bit.
that was some next level stuff.
You guys are on some crazy shit. It's like a Paris Fashion Week. It's like, let's spend the whole entire year for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've spent the last 5 months on something that'll be 15 minutes, like every day. It's been, yeah.
I love it.
It takes a lot.
Yeah.
You could throw in their artists as well. So you have Rory, Scorsese, Nolan. It could even,
It's such a
Rory's sitting on Mount Rushmore.
Jesus.
That's a fucking shout out, Rory.
Yeah.
Shit. It can even be an artist. Any type of artist. It could be music. It could be content creation, director. Because you've gone on tour a lot. You've seen different forms of art.
Right. Let me think here. That's a really good question.
It could be random. Like for me, growing up, I launched my first clothing company through Gym Class Heroes, and my buddy was their assistant. I've seen Gym Class Heroes 15 times in concert, and I literally to this day still think they're the greatest act in concert ever.
Nice.
And it's a joke, but literally Travis McCoy executes live like no other. So it's just, it could be something random like that.
Let me think. I think Virgil Abloh is really cool. And I think he's really cool because I really admire people who are talented in multiple disciplines. So, obviously he started Off-White. He's a creative director of Louis Vuitton. He DJs. I think he's pretty cool. Yeah. It's Nolan, Virgil, Rory.
And then Gym Class Heroes on the other side.
Yeah. On the back
I'm being serious though. Gym Class Heroes slaps. I want them to have a reunion. They're good. You got a fifth one or no?
Let's go with someone in music then. I've been listening to a lot of Millennium. I listen to a ton of Millennium.
Don't even know who that is.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, never mind. He's like an EDM act.
Millennium?
Yeah, he did a song with Chainsmokers recently. Listen to him, you'll like him.
Scene.
Yeah.
We'll check that out. So you're talking about, the respect you have for Virgil, given that he can do all different types of things. For you, obviously you're shifting more into like film, but is there ancillary things that you're doing that you're, in the future you see doing? Obviously it's photo, video.
Yeah, we did a song earlier this year. I did a piece for Google and I produced the song. And it did well. We got like 400,000 streams on it, and like I'm going to continue doing that. I produced another song for Michael Kors. We directed a campaign for them in September, or it came out in September. So yeah, keep pushing the music stuff, film stuff, content.
I want to talk about that
I gotta say that as a creative, like being a one-trick pony, like I hate people like that. I'll just say it on camera right now.
Oh,
like
God.
I'm saying being multifaceted and being able to say you're creative that does all these different things. Because like creativity, you can literally go in every lane and do it.
Right.
But yeah, there's one trick.
that is so true. Because I'm looking at you right now. I'm thinking, I know exactly what you're thinking about. The one person we always talk about.
There's a lot of people like that does one thing and they can't.
Jeffrey over here, hater.
They can't to me. That's why I love creatives. Is when I see creatives do that, like you said, Virgil and all these people that can literally hit DJing and never been DJ before.
Right.
But they have this. They're just good at it right away, and they have their own thing, and like their art and their clothing and their fashion comes through with it. So
Right.
That's another thing I really admire about artists and creatives, and I look for and like.
I'd agree. I think the one intangible with all creatives that you can't really put a thumb on is like their style and where the style comes through. Because then really the only gap that you have to bridge is the technicality of what you're doing, learning in design, Photoshop, Lightroom,
execution.
yeah, exactly. Just
robotic.
Right.
You
can't teach style. That's just you either have it or you don't.
That's a Jeffrey Cole quote.
It is.
You can't teach style.
Yep.
Yeah. Then you just got to learn the tools.
So I want to get a little bit more granular because that's something that you kind of just loosely just walked over. That you did an audio track for Google. I mean, Google's an enormous company.
Yeah.
So for the content creators out there, I mean, for me, almost all of my answers are like, how did you do that? I just went fucking savage mode and just bars my win.
Right.
Emailed, phone number, got an introduction. Like, how did you go about getting and doing something with Google? Like, how did that happen?
Actually through my connected GoPro, the director at GoPro at the time when I was there, she does product marketing or like product design for Google now. She's incredibly successful and we've kept a really close relationship. And she was like, we have the new Pixel Slate coming out and we'd love for you to do something for it. I was like, all right, let's do it. It's all relationships, and people trust me. So yeah, get it done. That's how that happened. It's literally that simple.
That's usually how it happens. I always say, I shouldn't say I say it. Scooter, it's a big thing that Scooter taught about us is people always want to, meet these esoterical, people that are on top of the space when it's really about the people that you come up with, because those are the people that you always can rely on.
Of course. And
And I mean, that's shaking out for us right now, actually, ironically enough. But
at some point, all those people that you're coming up with, you guys will all be at the top together, and then and you're running everything.
Facts. So I want to hear a little bit more about what's going on in February with this short film you're doing. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So speaking on making something for yourself, it's about my grandfather. He has dementia, and it was around this time last year I kind of started to work on the film, and then kind of life got in the way. Google came up, Michael Kors, all these like massive projects, and he kind of he's 92 now, and he just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. So it was around July of this year, I had a crazy month, and you pumped like 4 or 5 projects out the door, music videos, commercial campaigns, yada, yada, yada. And I said to myself, I'm like, well, if I don't stop everything and I make this, and he unfortunately passed, I would regret it for the rest of my life. So I called my manager and I said, I don't want to take anything on for the rest of the year, and I want to make this, and that's what I'm doing.
So that's dope.
Yeah.
I love that, dude.
I mean, it's been tough to do, because like I'm kind of like you. I don't talk that much, but I have a ton of energy normally when I'm like editing, and like it's been weird to work on just one thing for so long. But it's a short film that looks at his life, him meeting his wife. His wife died of cancer when she was, like around 55, and then him developing the disease, and kind of what my key takeaways are from that.
So are you like doing the narrative? Like, is it you, like your audio overlay?
Yeah, it's me and my mom. So not to give too much of the story away, but it starts, as of right now, it starts with my mom narrating the piece. And then when his wife died, it was before I was born. He kind of was, lost for a while, and like obviously, not doing the best. And then when I was born, the reason why I'm so close to him is his purpose shifted in life from, his wife dying to now I was his reason for like being. So then that's when I come in and tell the narrative. So dementia, I ended up building him like an art installation that he comes to. And the idea in like a Spark Notes version is, if you're 90 years old and you've forgotten most of the things in your life, and somebody looked at your life and took all the significant things in it and put it in a room for you to see, touch, feel, and experience, like what would that experience be like?
It reminds me of like 50 First Dates.
Kind of, yeah,
they
kind
make
of.
The video every day. It's just like,
yeah, so you can remember.
Yeah, catch everything.
So that's what the idea is, and it works actually. Yeah.
So that's what the future's looking like. I mean, for this piece, you're producing it direct. I mean, you're doing everything, correct?
I have a producer. His name's Steven, incredible guy. He definitely helped a ton. But I'm directing, editing. I had my buddy from college come shoot it. So there's definitely a team involved. It's not just me solo.
Let's talk about, the natural extension where, you're basically working corporate, you're doing photo and video. Now you're starting to do independent stuff, and now you're even leveling up and doing your own projects. Mm-hmm. So what's next? You want to be like Scorsese? Is that where this goes?
I think that'd be great. Yeah, I think that'd be cool. It seems like the logical next step. I mean, who knows? Like, things are always changing, and I'm sure 3-4 years ago you had no idea that you would be doing Ikonick and podcasts and be in LA. So I kind of just like go by this thing where I'm like, I'm just gonna do the best work I possibly can at the available moment, and kind of things will kind of guide itself. I have obviously goals and a vision for things, but some things you just can't plan for. So we'll see. I'm gonna try and get the short film out, and we're gonna pump it as hard as we can. We're gonna try and put it through like a festival circuit, and then hopefully some good things happen from that.
We are gonna fucking pump this shit too, bro. We got a big email list. We gonna blast that.
I mean, that's the best about creatives is we don't age with our bodies like athletes. How they have a limited time. We kind of get better with age because of our experiences, and
that's actually very true. I never thought of it like that.
So like that, when I think of what I'm going to be doing in 20 years, like I think of that level. Like, oh, am I going to be doing movies? Like, what am I going to be doing? But like,
yeah, you could be doing art direction for like a feature film. It'd be insane.
I can be 67 years old and still in the game, which is a very unique and cool thing about our profession is, yeah.
That's unfortunate for me. I don't think my energy is going to be as high when I'm 67. What do you think?
I don't know, the way you drink coffee. And
Hey, Coffee Lords. Shout out Espresso.
yeah. All right. Well, I want to talk about one thing. So I read a quote before you came here. It said, "You don't necessarily think working hard is the key, or working harder is the key." And here at Ikonick, that's like one of our main things. Is
Oh, geez.
Ooh, let's go.
So what do you mean by that? Talk about, the alternative of working harder to combat that.
Okay, well, I think I know what article.
Coming after you, man.
Yeah, I think I know what
Fucking
article.
coming after you, baby.
Okay, so what I meant by that is I when I did that interview, I kind of came off this period or season of my life where, I had worked a full-time job at GoPro. It's 40, 50 plus hours a week, and I grew all this on the side. So I mean, it's a lot. It was a ton of hard work, and I was a slave to it for a long time. It reaches a certain point where you hit the glass ceiling. You can't go anywhere. You can't do everything yourself. You know what I mean? So sometimes you just need, what I meant by that is you need to take a step back and actually just read the landscape of what you're doing, and what can we outsource? What is the most efficient way to do everything? And that doesn't necessarily mean you're working harder and running around being a crazy person. It means you're being more strategic.
Well, that's
Jeff, are you cherry picking over here, bro?
Well, no, but,
Young cherry picker.
That's interesting because what I think you meant by is you have like this barrier that you can work hard, but if you're the one almost like you're choosing your own fate, which you didn't, then you can work hard and you'll see the results from you working hard. But since you're obviously, maybe you're an employee, maybe your ceiling was so high, a lot of things you were doing couldn't really see fruition or come out.
I feel like you just got smarter, that you just started to source things out. You can only work X hard before you get burnt out.
Right.
You got to just start seeing everything for what it is, and the low-hanging stuff that other people can do, source it out.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it also depends on where you're at in your career and life. There is a period of time where you just need to grind and not think about it and just work. There's years and years of that. And like, I personally just feel like doing a lot of the grunt work and stuff, I'm past that, you know what I mean? I'm like trying to make short films and do all this stuff. It just doesn't make sense for me. So think smart. And
that's a big thing with us, is we really try and identify, if there's 10 things to do for a project, just source out as much of those things that's lower end people can
exactly
do.
Yeah, that'd be like you trying to set up all these cameras and lights. It just it doesn't make sense for you to do that.
This does look hard. Is this hard? No. We had somebody else the first 2 episodes. Somebody else did it.
Not good.
Sorry, Brandon. Wasn't that good, bro?
He's out.
These first 2 episodes are shaky as far as the POV. But that's a whole other thing. Hopefully you're listening on audio right now. Let's talk about the piece.
Yes,
so,
definitely.
Somehow nobody has picked this piece yet, and
I don't know
you
why.
asked me what my favorite piece was.
Yeah, and I asked Jeff.
Yeah, me.
I mean, I told you my favorite piece was the #1 revenue driver, but
Okay.
my own-
Which one?
which is not this one. I'm not gonna say that one on camera. Baby.
Okay, fair
come on. But this is my favorite one, as far as this holds like a certain spot in my heart, because it was the
Same.
first.
I want to know why yours, and I can tell you why this was.
I'm super fascinated.
Because mine
You
was
guys both picked this one.
mine was
too.
a specific
Mine
day
is
in the company.
nothing like what yours is. So what
Yours
mine
probably-
is,
His is probably stupid. Let's hear it though.
yo, I'm gonna fucking drop kick your
Let's
ass.
hear it.
Bro. We ain't editing this shit out. You think it's stupid?
Let's
All right.
hear it.
Go fuck yourself. Listen to this. So we had no licenses. It was in the beginning. People started knocking us off.
No,
so
this is a good story. This is a good story.
Oh, look at that. Go fucking sit in the corner. So we had no licenses. People started knocking us off. And 2 days before the licensing expo, I was like, fuck it, I'm going to go. With absolutely no meetings. I walked the show. I looked around, and there was this booth, ABG, Authentic Brands Group, and they had actually Mr. Brainwash images on the wall of Monroe, Elvis,
Right.
Ali. Actually, Shaq was on the wall. I start looking around, and I go on LinkedIn that night, and I find one of their reps. His name is Luke Walsh. I go and I say, I have an appointment with Luke Walsh. They're like, no, you don't. I actually say, Luke Walsh. He turns around. We make eye contact. I tried to finesse my way in there, and I found out that the best way to get appointments was the last day, because that's when everyone is hungover.
Right.
People are leaving town. So I literally got the last appointment, the last day, the last meeting with this one guy. And I basically bought my way into the meeting, and I was like, you're going to just give me a chance. And they had never dealt with a company that did direct to consumer and was spending on paid acquisition. It was more brick and mortar, like Spencer's and shit, like Hot Topic. And basically this guy went to bat for us, and I got that license. And Jeff obviously made beautiful pieces like these, and we actually ended up beating the 20+ year poster licensee in revenue the first fucking quarter.
That's crazy.
So we shattered them, and then we got other licenses, and the story was over. So that's why I fucking like this piece, Jeff. Why do you like this piece? Sounds like a good fucking situation to me,
right.
Jeff.
It was an alright
Jeff was
story.
not at the show.
Okay.
He was in his fucking cupboard 3 blocks away when we were living at Watermark Tower.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, mine is it was early in the company, and we were obviously doing a lot of things for the first time, and we made some major fuck ups just being a new company and stuff, and it was like one of those nights where you're just like not having it, you feel all the failures and everything is a wreck. You've been working so hard, obviously, as an entrepreneur. It's very lonely. It's a lot of hard hours. And I was almost like at a weird breaking point, but not like mentally. And I look up, and we actually had this on our wall above our TV. And it literally got me back, inspired. It said, keep going. And I was like, you know what? I got to keep going. And it was the first time I've ever been inspired by my own work.
Oh. That's really cool.
Yeah, which actually breaks my one law. I always thought as an artist you can't be inspired by your own work.
Yeah,
you have to take inspiration from something else.
Creatives are never satisfied with their work.
Yeah.
This shit is inspirational steroids, brother.
Yeah.
So no, it was.
And I take these steroids. It's all over the place.
Love it.
So yeah, that was the first time I've ever got inspired by my own work, and I thought it was like the craziest thing because it's never happened before.
Thanks for never sharing that story ever. That's a great story.
I think I've shared it before.
I never heard it.
Yeah, but that's why because I still remember this the moment, the second.
That's great.
That
They're
my
both great
rule
stories.
just ruined. My rule was broken.
What about you?
Top that, bro.
Top that, man.
Yeah, wow. Okay, geez. Well, I think it's a couple different reasons. First, like Muhammad Ali's the GOAT. He's the greatest of all time. So he's just a very inspirational and aspirational figure. And then her name was Rebecca, right? Yeah. When she texted me which ones you wanted, or I was going through the website, and it was more so I was just laying in bed one night when I got that text, and like I said, I've been working on this film, and by no means am I like gonna stop working on it, but I am at a point with it now where I'm like, I've seen this thing for the last like 5 months, like straight,
Psycho-eyes.
and we had a pickup day on Saturday, one extra scene that we had to do, and I'm like, God, I just hope I've spent so much time and money on this thing. I hope it works. And I was like, I gotta keep going. And like when I saw this, like this is what I'm telling myself the last week before I got that text. And then when I saw this, I'm like, I'm gonna pick this one up and I'm gonna hang this above my computer.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah, to keep going when I'm like,
dude, we just
racking my head
totally
against the wall.
Proven worker, that one.
Yeah,
that one actually does
it's great.
its job.
I love it. Well, that's going above your desk.
Of course, yeah. I have a spot for it right above my computer.
Let's go. He briefly touched on failures. I want to hit that before we go because obviously you've had great success thus far, and it doesn't come without failure. I always say that I used to think failure was the opposite of success, but it's actually one of the key variables in becoming successful. So I want you to give me a shit. Don't give me some soft failure. Give me down the dumps piece of shit, fucked up. What's your worst spot you've been in?
Worst spot I've been in or biggest failure? Because I feel like those are two different
Either
things.
or. Give me a low rider.
Well, I think what's interesting is that what most people talk about of my success, material success or whatever, is like, film school, GoPro, all this stuff. I didn't get into film school. I got denied from that. I got denied from GoPro. And yeah, I guess those would be, failures, you could say. Like to get into film school, I actually found this letter. I had to write a letter to the dean of the film school telling him why I thought I deserved to go there. And in the letter, in one of the paragraphs, I wrote that if I went there, I'd be one of the most successful students the school had ever had. But I guess that would be a failure.
It's so simple. All of your stuff is very simple, yet so profound.
But
failure. I mean, yeah.
It is, yeah. I mean, most things can be resolved with I find a conversation, or you talk to somebody and you get someone to believe in you. Like for film school, for example, like the barrier for me, it wasn't even grades or anything. They just didn't have room, or maybe they didn't think I was good enough, but I believed I was good enough, so I just had to explain that. And luckily someone else believed in my conviction, and that single-handedly changed my whole life. Same thing with GoPro. Someone believed in me, and I believed in myself that I could do what I said I was going to do, and that changed my whole life. And now I'm trying to do the same thing with my short film, where no one, like, I self-funded the whole thing, you know, and it's just me wanting to do it and make it and putting all the pieces together and the teams of people. And a lot of it is you can't be afraid to fail, because if you're afraid to fail, it kind of just gets in the way of making whatever you're trying to do, or, you know, and yeah, you just get it done.
You're taking a risk. You're going all in with your own money. I love that.
Yeah, it's expensive. It's really expensive.
Who do you look up to?
Just in life?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I'm trying to find someone I look up to my dad a ton. My dad's like the rock of our entire family, and he's an amazing guy. But I've been actually like looking for somebody else to look up to that's not like a Christopher Nolan or someone else in my space, just like a kind of a person that I think is like a wholehearted like individual. And I'm still kind of like looking for another North Star.
It's an interesting answer.
Yeah.
When Dave Meltzer was on, one of the biggest things he talked about is having mentors and just asking people for help and looking up to people. And I think that's...
Well, I think when the perception of somebody and who they actually are two very different things. And I think you learn that very quickly when you come to LA specifically, you know? So
I had lunch yesterday with someone who's cousins with like one of my biggest heroes, and she basically was just like, he sucks.
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah, sometimes you just don't want to hear that at all. Yeah.
It happens a lot here.
Who do you guys look up to? Or who do you guys have?
I mean, from a business context, I would say Gary is someone I look up to.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Jesse Itzler. I'm a big fan of Ed Milet. And my father and my mother are two people I look up to. My dad has psychotic work ethic, great husband and father. And then my mom's just the sweetest woman ever. So I'd say mom, dad, those people. Kobe Bryant.
Mm-hmm.
Rest at the
His
end.
work ethic.
Rest
Jeez.
at the end, not in the middle. I got that shit tatted on my leg, bro.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, I'm serious.
Oh, that's nice.
I'm serious about that.
His
what about
work
you?
ethic's insane.
Who do you look up to?
I mean, for me, the main dude is obviously Gary. But in terms of, I guess, learning more about life in general, Naval has been big.
Wow, Jeff.
I watch.
Have you ever listened to Naval?
I haven't, no. Am I missing out on something?
You
No.
just
oh
like-
my God. Jeff, stop talking. So Jeff doesn't listen to anything I say, or what he
Okay.
does is he secretly listens in his room, and then he goes and does a little
Yeah.
due diligence and comes back. I've been telling you to be on his shit. What, have you been listening to his shit?
Yeah, I listen to the. Well, I listen to the Rogan one once a month.
This guy's the fucking GoPro.
What is he?
Just at Naval, Naval on Twitter, and he's been on Rogan. It's like 2.5 hours of just life fucking gems. For anybody listening, video or audio, oh, dude.
He's
Game
the most
changer.
well-rounded.
What does he
you know.
do?
He's I mean, he you could say he's an investor, a tech guy, but he's just a master life strategist in psychology, and he is literally the most pragmatic dude of all time. He just takes things from exactly what it is and just gives you like
It's amazing.
kind of like dumbed down, stupid answers. You'll be like,
Yeah.
wow, this makes so much sense.
I love psychology stuff.
Yeah, and he takes things that you normally wouldn't understand, and then he breaks it down, and it's very he uses like the least amount of words too. So
Love that.
it's not
Love
like
that.
it's not like he's elaborating in these big words. He's actually just keeping it super grounded.
simple.
What's really good about him too is, so I'm a big Robert Greene 48 Laws of Power. So 48 Laws of Power, I love the laws. They're
Mm-hmm.
1-2 sentences, but then they get into these huge stories or these chapters about Greek mythology, which I don't give a shit about.
Mm-hmm.
His are all tweets, and then
This is Naval.
Naval, and then it's 3 to 5 minute audio.
Oh, nice. That's perfect.
Super, super simple. So
I need to give him a
everybody listen
follow.
out there.
Yeah.
Shout out Jeff on that one. I didn't think you were listening on that. So there you go. So February, you have the short film coming out, and then I just want to give you kind of an open stage for anything else. Where can they find you on social media, and then what else do you have coming down the pipeline? Everybody in February, you better watch
Hopefully
this
February,
shit.
or hopefully it's coming out in February. But yes, watch it when it comes out. But you can just follow me. It's Matt Komo on every handle, or on Twitter it might be Matt J Komo, but just search my name and you'll find it. But that's in the pipeline for right now. That's all my energy is going to. So started January, we're doing all the visual effects for it, which is like pretty heavy. So that's going to take a whole month just to do that alone.
Damn. Well, good luck, my man. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
About to hit that third coffee. Let's go.
Hey.
baby.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.